was wondering if you guys are viewing it that same way.
We're viewing it as our next game. You know, obviously, every game we play in the NFL is huge, right? This isn't any other sport. NFL, you have a limited amount of games, so every game we're looking for as an opportunity to go out there and play to our core values and an opportunity for us to get better, and that's how we'll think about this one too.
Their aggression, Nick, how does that change it for you from a game management standpoint? Because they, it's usually 4 downs when they hit a certain.
Yeah, obviously they're very aggressive. I wouldn't say, you got to see how the game is being played and how it's going. And every scenario in the game we account for as far as our decision making. What you do in the first half is a little different sometimes than what you do in the second half. And so, and vice versa. So everything be accounted for. We'll see how the game's being played, but we know they'll be aggressive.
What about the fact that Campbell's called plays just once? Does that make it a little harder because you don't know maybe tendencies?
Yeah, obviously, with him taking over play calling last week, it definitely, you look at it and the tendency portion of it, but that doesn't mean, I think anytime you change play callers, there's going to be different tendencies of things that happen. Because even if, for instance, when Shane and I switch play calling assignments, we may think of the game and the plays may be very similar. We think of the game the similar way, but the way it comes out of the coordinator's mouth and, their feel for it is a little bit different. Everyone's just a little bit different. It might not be extremely different, but everyone's a little bit different.
You know Campbell at all?
I know him through, through the owners' meetings and, seeing him at the combine. A lot of respect for him and what he's done. He's a heck of a coach who's really, I think also, right, him and I were the same, how do they call that? The class? Do you call it a class? Yeah, him and I were in the same era there, coming out in 21. And so got a lot of respect for how he runs his program and the respect that I can see that his guys have for him and the way they play physical, the way they play tough, the way they play with effort, the way they play with fundamentals. I've seen a lot of similar things that are happening in their program that happen here in our program. So a lot of respect for him.
You're also the only two from that class of 7 who are still employed by the same place. Does that mean anything to you?
Not really. Good to him. Good to me. Yeah.
The job Brent Toth has done in these past few weeks, replacing Cam, whether Cam's back or not. Can you just kind of describe, what he's been able to do these past few games?
Yeah, I think he's done an excellent job. These last 3 games, obviously, able to win all of those games with him in there. He does a good job of playing with toughness and fundamentals, and also really high football IQ, getting everybody on the same page. So, we take a lot of pride in our backups being ready to go and when called upon, because we know this is a long season where you'll have to count on them a lot. And so, Brett's done a really phenomenal job, and I got a lot of faith in him, when called upon to play.
What's made Fred good in that role as a blocking tight end?
Yeah, I think that Fred, the reason we got to that in the first place is that every time Fred goes in to play, he's played good in his role at tackle, and so, the similar, lot doing similar things, obviously at a little different spot, but he's been playing consistently like he does when he goes in. So I think that he earned the opportunity to get more of that, the role of what we're doing with him, based off of how he's played. Just like, everything goes, we build confidence in practice. We build confidence through the reps that we have in games. And I think that he's done a really nice job, and that's why, he's just earned more and more playing time.
Have you gotten
tendencies from earlier on the defensive side for the Lions to play a lot of man? I mean, how much do you expect an opponent in a general sense to break some of their tendencies, and what has kind of been your experience this season with your?
Yeah, when you're good on offense and when you have success and when you're a good football team, expect everything, expect anything.
In Cam Jurgens' case, what's your observations been of him in practice this week. And we haven't asked you about Willie Lampkin. How do you see him as a player, as a center, as a guard? What's the
Yeah, I think Willie's got flexibility to be able to do multiple things, and it's been fun watching him practice. As far as Cam, he's working hard. You guys saw yesterday that he was limited, and we'll see where he is. Obviously don't have to make a decision until, for a little bit here, but, I know he's working like crazy to get back, and he's had some good practices the last couple of days.
Speaking of that,
A lot of times when you come up here, you'll have on the shirt of a player. Just curious, yes, not football, but do you ever pick like, all right, let me wear this player's shirt this week to send a message, or is it just the first one that comes out of the closet?
Yeah, sometimes. No, I wouldn't say this one. I got the Zach Vaughn shirt underneath it, I think. Yeah, there you go.
Devontae's
So,
birthday.
I don't know. Sometimes, Smitty's birthday. All right, then my message this week was to send it to Smitty the happy birthday. Yeah. I'm not a big birthday guy. I don't know. Every conversation, everything, I would say this, every conversation and everything that you do with a player is meaningful, right? And it's purposeful. I'll have very natural conversations, but I'll have ones that I have written down on my paper. I'm like, I want to talk to this guy, and this guy, just, today. And sometimes that's like that with your shirt too. But today was Smitty.
To your expect,
Sometimes not though too. Yeah.
your expect anything comment there. Have you guys gotten more unscouted looks from your perspective?
Yeah, but that's not unusual. We get that. That's been
More than usual.
not necessarily. We've always have gotten unscouted looks here. Again, when you're a successful team, that you have to expect that, and that's why, we do a lot in walkthrough or, in OTAs or in training camp of trying to put them in every scenario we possibly can, even though it's, hey, well, where's this in the game? Where's this on film? Well, it's not on film, but I know that they could possibly do it. And you think about that with things that have gotten you in the past, but also things that are trendy, and try to show them that so they at least see that and walk through, even though it might not have ever showed up on tape against this particular opponent.